We're talking about the four stages of manifestation and love. And what are some of the things that women can do unconsciously to sabotage each area and how to overcome it? I'm super excited to be doing this last episode in this series. As you guys know, we've been talking about the four stages and how they relate to love. So let's just go over this four stages really quickly before we progress. This is from chapter 3 of my Lady Balls book. So the basic babe is the stage of the wounded feminine. This is the stage where she feels really disempowered, that someone else outside of her is holding all her power. Her parents, her partner, the government, the recession, the circumstances of life are always holding her power. So that's the wounded feminine. The self-aware Barbie, this is where modern Western women are kind of at, where we've gone now into the wounded masculine. This is a step up from the basic babe. We're able to be self-aware, we're able to work hard, we're able to hustle and ground and get the things done. But there's a lot of burnout, there's a lot of suffering, sacrifice that comes with this stage because we're not in the integrated masculine, we're in the wounded masculine, right? So that's the self-aware Barbie. Then we've got the million dollar babe. The million dollar babe is where you start integrating and unifying. And in this stage, you've got the healthy feminine and the healthy masculine, and you're working in a integrated manner. Think of it as kind of a braiding of energy where you've got both of them running towards you. So you're not asking questions like, is this masculine or feminine? It's like you're just integrated in both of them, right? Then there is the high-end divinity where you actually transcend into now the divine energy. This isn't even about masculine or feminine, it's divine energy. You are now in your calling. You're now helping become the field. Instead of just manifesting for yourself, you're manifesting for the planet. You become a frequency holder, a teacher, a guide, someone that is setting the standard and the floor for all of humanity. So when it comes to love, then let's talk about the four stages and how women self-sabotage in all of these stages. So in the basic babe stage, you're really in blaming others. It's always someone's fault and it's never your fault. It's someone's fault outside of you. It's your parents' fault. It's your culture's fault. It's your religion's fault. It's your boyfriend's fault. It's your husband's fault. It's always someone else's fault. And because it's someone else's fault, you're off the hook because it's someone else's fault, it's kind of you're waiting for them to move. You're waiting for them to apologize. You're waiting for them to change things. You're waiting for the circumstances to change, but you just wait your entire life until you can until you can upgrade yourself out of this consciousness. So this is the realm of blaming others. It's always someone else's fault. Now, the self-sabotage here is creating more situations so that it's always someone else's fault. There's a part of you that is addicted to it being someone else's fault. You rather it be someone else's fault than you be happy. You rather it's someone else messing things up than you actually taking control of your life. So that's like the massive self-sabotage here. The self-aware Barbie, she's still in the fault stage, but she sees it as it's her fault. She sees it as it's me. It's always me. So let me take responsibility, but it's my fault and I'm blaming myself. And why, of course, you can see why this is a step up because you now have control and you now have power from comparison to the basic babe. But when you are saying it's always your fault, when you're blaming yourself, you're still, first of all, in the lowest level of consciousness of it has to be someone's fault. And you create shame for yourself. So, how much success are you actually going to let in your life when you feel wrong and bad? When you feel like it's your fault. So what happens in the self-sabotage here is even though someone, there's a dynamic playing out, you end up bearing all the responsibility. You end up always apologizing. You end up, fixing everything. You end up doing, trying to chase and manipulate and control. And this can be exhausting for you because you feel like you're dragging every relationship forward. And that if you stopped rowing the boat of the relationship, the boat would stop. There would be no relationship without you rowing. And because you have shame around, well, I messed up last time, or, let me be the bigger person, or whatever the thing is, you don't think that without you rowing the boat will continue. And so you just accept that as your reality and you keep stuck in that paradigm. And because there is an addiction that forms, then you keep doing that same thing over and over again. You keep creating situations where it looks like it's more of your fault. So before we even go into Million Dollar Babe and High End Divinity, let me ask you right now, those of you guys that are watching live or even in the comments later, why does it always have to be someone else's fault? Why does it have to be blame? Why is society and humanity so obsessed with it being someone's fault? Even in yesterday's video, what was kind of funny is that I talked about why not just shift the dynamic? Why does it have to be someone's fault? And people in the comments were like, well, if this is happening, whose fault is this? Why does it have to be someone's fault? I'm really like honestly asking this. Why is society so stuck with it has to be someone's fault? BBs need SABs to keep the dysfunction going. Yes. Yes. That's so interesting, Christian. You and I are like on the same wavelength because I was actually mapping out the business series that I'm starting on my other channel tomorrow, the Fire Horse era. And one of the things that, I was preparing for this is self-aware Barbies don't realize that they don't attract other self-aware Barbies, they attract basic babes. And there's like a whole psychology around that. Okay. So the basic babe and the self-aware Barbie, the reason they remain in the lowest realms of consciousness is because it's always someone's fault. Either it's someone else's fault or it's their fault. So now let's talk about the Million Dollar Babe. Here's what the Million Dollar Babe does differently. She just shifts the dynamic. She doesn't care whose fault it is. She doesn't believe in fault. She doesn't believe in blame. She doesn't have time to waste like that because she's so enjoying her life and she's so busy receiving all of her manifestations and then dreaming up her next desires and visualizing her next desires and receiving that. She doesn't have time for that. And this becomes her greatest asset. She's just like, that's interesting. Let me change it. That's interesting. Let me shift it. That's interesting. Manifest myself out of it. So to her, she's never like dipping into those low forms of consciousness. I mean, she might have moments, but this is where she functions is let me just shift out of it. Now, let's talk about because all of these stages have shadow sides, as I'm sure you're starting to see, right? So the shadow side of the Million Dollar Babe can become that she's so busy manifesting with her partner that sometimes they forget to integrate the first two. The self-aware, the basic babe's healthy side is playfulness. It's like childlike wonder, right? And then the healthy side of the self-aware Barbie is like partnership and being there for each other. So the shadow side of the Million Dollar Babe, the self-sabotage, can be getting so busy manifesting the next thing that you miss each other, that you can start feeling unmet. And so that is something I want you to watch out for. That is something I want you to be aware of is, hey, am I so busy, moving on to the next thing that I might be falling a little bit in the shadow side? Yeah? Okay. Let's go to high-end divinity. Okay. So the high-end divinity is where you've manifested everything in your life in your union. You've run out of manifestations in this stage. And now this desire awakens to help other people manifest, to have like a bigger calling. And this is really where you tap into the desire of your calling work. So here, the shadow side can be being so much in your calling that you're not taking care of each other's like human needs, that you're not taking care of each other's like pleasure needs and enjoyment needs, that it becomes, don't let your calling and your charity become toxic where you're doing for others at the expense of your family or your union. So that can be the shadow that I want you to watch out for in the high-end divinity realm. Yeah. So this is, I'm seeing some really amazing questions coming in. I will be addressing all of those questions. Keep them coming, and we'll get to those. And before we do this, I want to just quickly mention that today is the last day at midnight for the Divine Love Experience. This is my crazy, crazy bundle that I've created for you guys, which is a full day immersion on divine love using these 4 stages happening in March. And to make it extra juicy, what I've done is added 10 of my most iconic relationship curriculum to it. So when you purchase this bundle now, you immediately, instantly get access to the 10 courses, including Divine Union, the Get the Ring, like all of my juicy, like conscious couples intensive courses, and you can start watching those and using those transmissions, doing those inner work. And then in March, we will show up live for a full day immersion where I can go over the 4 stages and we can do hot seat and I can really put my energy on your exact situation and we can work through that. So that is coming up. Today is the last day. This bundle, like just the Divine Union course in there is like so delicious and worth the entire bundle. But you get all of the relationship curriculum plus the full day immersion. I mean, honestly, at this price, you can't afford not to do it. Like, don't go into the fire horse energy without having this crystalline clarity about your relationship and where you might be at and what you want to do to manifest the relationship that you do want. Amazing. Olive, it was my Valentine's was amazing. It's still going. We still have more celebrations today and tomorrow. So yeah, it's just been delicious. Okay, let me see what questions you have coming up. It's just easier for some people with having someone to blame. Yes, honestly, it's like addiction to suffering, right? Yeah. What's really been fascinating for me is that even though I've been teaching this the 4 stages since 2019, right? Which has been what, like 7 years now. Even when I teach this, they still keep using the blame and the fault word. It's so deeply ingrained. Either we have to blame someone outside or blame ourselves, but it's just fascinating how deeply ingrained that is. Should you boost his male ego when he's angry and hurtful because there is a lot of miscommunication? For what purpose? Um, so Kushi, this is kind of a funny question. It's a little silly because it depends, right? Like, who told you that that's the thing that would heal and help? Why, why boosting his male ego? Where is that coming from? So I have this thing in my coaching where I ask for what purpose. So where did you get that from? I'm still sensing this like blame energy, right? This blame and then that like fawning energy of like, oh, let me like boost his meal. Where did you get that from? Where did that come from? Why is that the solution and why is that the only solution that is available to you? Is what I would look at. At some point in my life, I changed from thinking who's to blame to thinking how can I show up and what am I doing, not doing to have this appear in my life. Yeah, so I love that. there's still some self-aware Barbie in there, right? Versus shift the dynamic. Shift the dynamic. Like, who am I being? Shift the dynamic. Oh my God, I did the $1 million babe shift already. He showed up weird. I shifted the energy for my desire and boom, he upgraded and got so much better. This is recoding reality. It's just so much faster. And you guys know I'm a huntress. I love speed. That's why I'm like drooling over the fire horse year starting this Tuesday. By the way, tomorrow on my other channel, we did this series on this channel. Now I'm shifting tomorrow on the other channel, and we're doing this really delicious series on the fire horse era, which, oh my God, I now I know why I like manifested in this incarnation because I'm like, oh, the fire horse, like, yes, where were you? Where were you? Yes, I'm super excited about that. So we're going to be talking about like going fast. And the reason I lost my train of thought, but I love speed. I love speed. I love just like, okay, how do I just collapse time and get there faster? And so blaming fault for like it just takes so much time. I don't like wasting time. I just love just getting what I want. And that has been the biggest thing. My husband's really angry and at the verge of breaking apart when I know there's a lot of miscommunication. Should you boost his ego when he's angry and there's miscommunication? Wait, did I not read that before? Okay, I think answered that one. I started doing your 21-day embodiment work. I'm at day 7 and I love it, but I'm still figuring out where do I fall in your levels of consciousness. I'm from just your few questions, there's a lot of basic babe in there, gorgeous. There's still a lot of basic babe. You're trying to phrase things in a way where it doesn't look like it's his fault, but there's still an element of fault. And so once we know, we want to take responsibility and shifting the dynamic. So if you weren't married and if your husband wasn't angry, what would you be doing in your life? Who would you be being? Can you take energy off of him and throw it into your life? Can you shift it into what would I be doing? What would I be desiring? How would I be manifesting that desire? I enjoyed the dynamic with my date today. We missed each other yesterday. He waited for me because of miscommunication. Instead of being mad, we just decided to meet today. No blame, just solutions. This is the biggest thing for the $1 million to get into the $1 million babe consciousness. Here's the thing. I think most people over communicate in relationships with words, especially when they're in self one, right? I teach about self one and self two. Self one is the human part, the ego part, the program part, the conditioned part. Self two is the divine part, the one that's the fragment of God, the conscious part, the spirit part, the soul part. And most of the teachings and relationship work and all that is from self one, managing the self one. When you're in self one, shut your mouth. Like literally shut your mouth when you're in self one. Do not communicate in self one. It's just going to cause more harm. I talk about this in the basic babe bundle. You're just creating more distortion, more conditioning, more miscommunication, more misunderstanding. Like when I am in self one or I see other people in self one, I shut my mouth because there's only harm that can come from that. I came to a point where blaming others doesn't do anything for me, but blaming myself doesn't do anything either. Exactly. You get tired of it. And I'm blaming yourself, it sounds like a step up. It is from the basic babe bundle because it's still basic babe, I mean, it still gives you an air of control, but it's not going to get you results. What would you rather have, control or results? I am a huntress. I'm very results driven. This is how my masculine energy is that I love results. I love materializing reality. I love manifesting. So to me, it's like what is the shortest distance from me to my desire? what is the shortest distance? What the basic babe does is his culture, his family, him, it's just that's exhausting to me. Sending so much love, but how exhausting. I don't have time for that. I don't enjoy that. There's nothing in me that wants to spend any time doing that. It just doesn't. I'm just very results driven. My whole life has been what is the fastest way I can manifest my desires? Like literally that's my entire life. That's just what I do. I just focus on, interesting. How can I get this faster, quicker? How can I get this now? How can I collapse time? That, like, I don't even have time to sit there and blame anyone, culture, religion, his family. Like, how is this too exhausting for me? Sorry, I'm just adding. I just realized I hadn't added something to my live stream, so just taking care of that. Yeah. Instead of placing blame, why not come up with solutions that can make the situation better? Exactly. What was really interesting, so a couple live streams ago, still in this series, someone said something and I thought it was hilarious. So it's one of you guys. Someone said it's the type of people that have a problem for every solution, right? We are the type of people that have a solution for every problem. But there's also people that have a problem for every solution. That you need to get yourself out of that. There's always something, there's always a problem. No, but this is not going to work because of this. It's like they won't even let themselves like heartstorm or brainstorm solutions. They just cannot be in that solution consciousness. Any other questions coming up regarding what we talked about before, like today? I'm getting some really weird questions about boosting males' ego. You guys are so silly and so funny. I don't know what you guys have been watching or consuming or where that's coming from. Yes, I agree. I am amazed how men get me without needing to talk a lot about how I felt or what I need. Hi, Mina. I notice sometimes I drop into self-aware Barbie when a man starts showing a lot of interest. Do you have a tool for this? Thanks for everything. So my tool would be what do you want to what do you want to embody? When a man, you said when a man starts showing interest, when a man starts showing interest, how do you want to be? How do you want to act? How do you want to feel? And start embodying that now. Can you give some examples of how you take accountability for the dynamic without falling into blame? Yeah, so I say, that's so interesting. I wonder why God is showing me that. That's so interesting. I wonder why I'm feeling that. Or that's so interesting. And then when I say that, it puts me in a receiver mode, and then I start getting solutions of how to shift my dynamic. And so, what do I need to do to shift myself out of it? What do I need to desire? What do I need to feel? What's the energy? Who do I need to be? And as soon as I start being that, it recodes reality. Yeah, that's so true. It's like they actually want the problem instead of solving it. They do want the problem. They're addicted to the problem. And so um they don't want the solutions. That's why they get upset. And when people are sharing solutions with them, that part of them that wants the problem gets triggered and it's like starts spitting out more problems. How do you embody the nervous system in the least amount of time? Great question, gorgeous. And I'm going to go ahead and drop my nervous system reboot. So in 3 weeks, you'll learn all the technique. I mean, you can binge watch it really, really quickly, but you could even learn it in a day, and then you'll have the solutions that you need. And you can do it faster the more you do it. Uh, Thank you. I love the reminder to stay curious about why things are showing up instead of wasting energy and blame. Yeah. I mean, unless you like being slow. Some people, I think, really enjoy being slow. I just don't. Shared this with you guys. I'm really impatient. I love manifesting reality really fast. I love collapsing time. I love timeline jumping. Like that's my jam. So I just do it really, really fast. Yeah. Let me see what else you're saying. Yeah, it just for those of us that are results driven, we get tired of our own bullshit faster. And we're like, okay, this isn't blaming, right? Let me give you an example. I shared this example in a course before. I can't remember which course, but God forbid if you had like chickens, let's say you had chickens in your farm and a coyote broke in and ate your chickens. Would you need to go to therapy for 10 years? Let me know in the chat right now. Would you need to do like forgiveness exercises? Would that ruin your entire life? Probably not, right? You would just be sad for a moment, and if you wanted chickens, you'd go get more chickens and then you figure out a solution. But like in certain situations, we understand this that it doesn't ha it's just this is what coyotes do. That's just how they are. That's how who they be. So you wasting your entire life and blaming coyotes doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of your life force. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy. Why not apply that to everything and be like, okay, what's the solution here? What can I do differently? Who can I be? Can I get curious around why this is presenting itself? And that just collapses time so much faster. But look at most of the world. Remember, I was talking about the other day how most of the grids, most of the content you're watching, most of the books you're reading, most of everything you're doing, the entertainment you're consuming is designed to keep pull you down. Is designed to grid you into a lower level of consciousness. That's just reality. It's just the law of gravity. It's just everything on the 3D just pulls you down. So it takes extra effort to be up. It's like choose your hard. And so I chose my heart as I'm gonna keep my energy gridded into places that calibrate me higher, not lower, higher. And that puts you in a completely different field. You think differently, you be differently, you experience relationships and love and wealth and manifestation differently. Life moves differently for you. It's less dense there. The laws of physics move differently in that realm. Thanks, Mina. Yes, I love timeline jumping. The feeling of it is when it happens is exhilarating beyond everything. Yeah, once you get a taste of that, you're not gonna waste time in blame and fault. It's just not gonna, you don't have time for that because you're like, I want to be back over here. I want to be here calibrating, manifesting, doing all the things because it just feels so much more delicious over here. Most of humanity is addicted to suffering. It is just how we've evolved. It's not that they want to be addicted to suffering, they just are. And there's a part of them that just sees that as the only reality and won't let them calibrate higher. It would rather that everyone else come down to their level. People that are at your level try to keep you at that level. People below you keep you below you, want to pull you down. People above you want to calibrate you higher. Who do you hang out with more? Who do you spend more time and energy with? People that want to calibrate you higher? People who want you to stay the same? Or people who want to pull you down? Down or back? You know those people that are like, I liked you better in, 1997. Sorry, you're still stuck in 1997. I remember that example with the coyote and chickens that really opened up my mind. Yeah, you wouldn't have no time for nonsense. You wouldn't need decades of therapy or inner work to like this. That's just what coyotes do. And you would just recode your reality and find a solution and choose something different for yourself. That's what I'm inviting you to do, especially as we get into this fire horse energy, which it's already breezing at me. I've been preparing for this my entire life. Is whatever you are carrying inside of you will magnify. Blame will magnify, fault will magnify, chaos will magnify. Also clarity, wealth, abundance, calibration, like everything. I'm so excited. What's the point in spending your energy trying to forgive the coyote when you can just find a better fence and more tools to protect your chickens? Exactly. Exactly. What's the one thing you'd suggest if you want to shift from basic bake? Watch my free content. I have 15 years of free content on like this channel, and then the other one is more business related, my other channel, Million Dollar Babes. Watch and embody my free content. That's what I would say. Have you watched and embodied it? Not just like information, but embody it. I don't know anyone else that's given 15 years of free content that you can just take and embody. People have used my free content to create six, seven, and eight-figure businesses. I don't know if you guys know that. Just they've used only my free content to create massive empires. That's how powerful it is. So you watch it and embody it. It will change your life. If you can't afford the courses yet, do that. I would argue you can't afford not to have the courses. But a lot of people, they rather waste flesh and time and energy than money. So I get it. It's just the mindset. Okay. So ladies, I want to invite you again into the Divine Love Experience. The other kind of announcements I have is tomorrow on the Million Dollar Babes, we're shifting into a series on that channel, which is called Fire Horse Energy. And we're going to be talking about business and scaling your business with this Fire Horse year. And what I would do if I was starting my business again, what I would do to, what I'm doing right now to scale it, all of that stuff. Two other things I have that are I'm enrolling for is one is Dubai. We are almost in like it's coming up. We are our next in-person event is happening in Dubai. And there's two tiers. You can get general, this is a VIP event, general tier or VIP tier. And I have the link for that in the description box. The other, so that's happening in April 28, 29, 30th. And then the other thing is, let me see. Oh yeah, the channel you're calling into cash. That starts this Wednesday, by the way, in the Fire Horse era. And this is about using your feminine offering and your spiritual gifts to create your offer. When you have an offer that's really, really great and it's positioned a certain way, it's easier to sell it. So this is what I always say. If you have a crap offer, you're gonna have to work harder at selling it. You're gonna have better selling sales skills. Versus if you have a really amazingly positioned offer, you need less sales skills because business requires a lot of different skills. You guys know that. Like business requires so many different skills at the same time, marketing, copyright, so many things, right? Resilience, grit, sales skills. And so we're gonna be spending a whole month inside channel you're calling into cash, creating that offer. So it like sells itself, it's easier to sell. And then in the Dubai intensive, we are meeting in Dubai, amazing, amazing Dubai, to create in person your million-dollar offer with experiences and events that you want to do anyways, but you just get to price them and get paid for them for doing things that you already love. So that's what we're doing in Dubai. Questions? Venus said setting boundaries with your own and other people's suffering is so deep. Honestly, honestly, been setting my floor in communication to no longer allow myself to suffer or to engage in other people's suffering. This is like the hardest inner work, especially Venus when you love you love these people, but yes, creating those psychological boundaries with yourself and energetic boundaries with other people are so important to being able to move into higher levels of manifestation, for sure. I'm not saying that's easy, but it's so necessary. So important. Yeah. I feel you on that because it's tough. I've had to do that at so many different levels of my life. It's never easy. You just have more proof that that's the only thing you have to do and that you must do it. I was just talking to a friend yesterday about this exact thing. It's so important. It actually helps them as well. Enabling other people, worrying about other people, like it weakens their aura. And so when you trust in yourself, you trust in God, you trust in other people, you see them as capable, that actually helps them more than you enabling them or you saving them or you entangling with them. Does not help anyone. Yeah. All right, loves. I will see you guys in Divine Love Experience, in Divine, in Channel Your Calling, and all the things. Bye, everyone.